when you got a guy like Kevin Love that gets angry in basketball, you got to ask yourself, is something really wrong? And at the end of the day, it's Kevin Love reaching an age in his prime or almost out of his prime. And he's saying, hey, guys, I need a chance to win again. He's with a losing organization with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and it's almost a trade deadline. He wants to make something happen. Here goes the issue. Here goes the issue with Kevin Love. In this market, trying for a team to try to win and get something back that's good, and that's the question mark here, because I believe they could trade him. They could trade him to so many teams, and one team that I'm thinking about right now that makes total sense. I know everyone's talking about the Blazers. He wants to go back home. That's an interesting comeback. It is. It would solidify their power forward position, so I get that. However, what about Porzingis and Love and Doncic? How about them apples? How would that look on the Dallas scene as I look at lineups and how they meld together? Even though Kevin Love is not a runner like Doncic is, Doncic is no Darian Fox at all, right? He moves at a pace that's perfect to basketball. What an amazing season. We got to get a video only on Luka Doncic. I know everyone is on his tail right now. The bandwagoners are all over, but you remember Off Work Sports said he's a special talent. Anyway, here we go with this trade scenario for Kevin Love. Because the issue, I think, is general manager is saying, dude, they're giving me back maybe a first-round draft pick for you. All right? Seriously. That's all I'm getting today. A first-round draft pick. So why the heck would I just trade you for that, right? Well, the disgruntledness of the team, disruption of the team, the young guns, could cause an issue. And as I look at the standings, I like to go to this, and I like to do it real time so you can see how good freaking Google is, because I just like to do that. I don't know why. I think there's an opportunity here to move them and maybe take advantage of those draft picks. Who are the teams that need a Kevin Love right now? Lo and behold, there's a team right down the street from Cleveland called the Indiana Pacers. No one's talking about them, but they're having a pretty good season once again. I'm starting to think it's the system, but hey, it may not be. Could they grab Kevin Love for cheap? They are a contender. They are playing, together, and that's the key thing. Sabonis is having a tremendous season. How does he fit in here? He fits in perfectly. But they do have a glut of power forwards that kind of play the same role, okay? So that's the only issue. Indiana Pacers. I mentioned on the West Coast, I talked about it, said, hey, makes sense to move him to the Dallas Mavericks. We'll get there in a second and look at their lineup and see why. Now, the Celtics are a conversation of Andre Drummond, who, like I said, should be a landing spot for him. What about Mr. Love on the freaking Boston Celtics? Now, who would you move is the question. It would be interesting to see who would you move. But Kevin Love on the Celtics, not a bad option. I don't think they'll gut anything. I don't think they will want to move any of their big players, such as a Jaylen Brown or Mr. Jason Tatum, but another good option for them. And if I keep going around, I'm trying to find another team that could use them. What about, hey, we're rebuilding. Next year we'll have it all. Hey, guys, what about the new Brooklyn Nets? And I'm from New Jersey, so it's still in my head. What about the Brooklyn Nets? Is there an opportunity to get Kevin Love on the Brooklyn Nets for next year? It's called planning. I think this is an interesting move. And on the east side, if you're looking at, I call it the Chinese method, thinking long term, I think this is a great match in heaven for Kevin Love to have Kyrie, Kevin Durant, and Kevin Love as your big three. Interesting, good, quick switch up that can make magic happen. I'm not going into the more intrinsic trades, trades that trade 2-3 of these guys and 2-3 years and make it happen. Now, on the west side, I don't want to do this to the Rockets, but hey, it's a dark runner. It's a dark runner. I mean, this is what D'Antonio lives for. No one's thinking about this. I mean, they're already great, but hey. If you get Kevin Love, Lord have mercy on me. I don't know what I would say here. To get Kevin Love on the Houston Rockets would be amazing. I think that is the number 2 option. I talked about that. Okay, let's go back again. And then bang, bang, boom, morning time. I went back too many layers here. Utah Jazz always have a love for players like this. Do they necessarily need him at that cost? I don't think so. But there's an opportunity. Back to the Mavericks. When you look at their lineup, the Mavericks are pretty sick, man. I mean, I think this is an optimal landing spot for him. Even though Porzingis is at the power forward position, you move him to a small 5. You got Porzingis because he's skinny, not because of his height. You got Porzingis, Love, Doncic. Lord God, if anything, Mark Cuban, you should be pushing for this trade all day long. I think that's where he belongs. And I'm actually going to stop the video. Even though I like the Blazers, Carmelo's already playing the Kevin Love role. Okay? Kevin Love will be more disruptive because he's going to be able to get more rebounds than Carmelo Anthony on the Portland Trail Blazers. Carmelo will then have to come off the bench, or they're going to have to go a small 5 with Kevin Love in there. Now, if you can get rid of Whiteside, okay? I'm not saying Whiteside sucks. I made a video. The effort doesn't appear to be there. If you can get Whiteside out of there, okay, and for Kevin Love and even trade, I don't know if the Cavs would want him, and maybe they do. Maybe, you know what? Cavs may want Whiteside. He may fit in better there than with the Blazers. But they also have 2 ball-dominant guards in Garland and Mr. What's his name, Sexton. I think that's another opportunity. But Dallas Mavericks, for me, to make a run. Now, I was just talking to some chats. Hey, tank, get James Wiseman. I think the Mavericks would be better. It'd be beneficial to them to tank, slow down, and get James Wiseman. Now, if I look at it, if they think they can win now, if they think they can take the Lakers or the Clippers, or I do think the Nuggets are still up there, you know, then go for it. Let's make the move. Let's make that happen, and go ahead and get Mr. Kevin Love. You know, maybe you have to move Finney, right? Maybe you have to move Finney. That's going to suck. He's a big defensive anchor. But you move 1 or 2 of those lower-tier guys or even keel guys and make that happen. It'll be an interesting play. I think this is an amazing opportunity for Kevin Love. I think there's options, but the GM has to be willing to either take on a salary and lose it in a couple years, or take the lower draft picks that is probably being offered. Kevin Love is not happy. He wants to be moved. Make it happen. He's done so much for the organization. This is his time. That's my Kevin Love rant. Off Work Sports. I'm out and off to work. Peace.